Hi, I'm Charlie and I make games. I saw a weird movie the other day where this happens. And naturally, as a normal person, my thought was, can I make that in Unity? Let's find out. Here was my attempt to make a person made of other people in Unity. To start out, I created a blank Unity project and imported this mannequin from Mixamo to use as my character. My first idea was to make a shader that would take the mannequin's skin texture and replace it with a tessellating skin model of my choice, but I got frustrated pretty quickly trying to set up 3D tiles in Shader Graph. I think that theoretically I can make this work by making the skin 2D and then simulating depth with a height map, but I'm not really sure how I'd make one out of an existing model. That's something that I want to explore in the future with this kind of project, but not really something that I know how to do right now. Regardless, the way I ended up doing it let me do some really cool things, so I'm happy. For this new approach, I decided to throw away the stupid, neat, optimized shader graph, and instead I brute forced the rendering using runtime code. This code reads the mesh data from the mannequin and draws our skin model at the center of every triangle that it finds. This was a little finicky, and my first result ended up looking like this. I tried to fix it by swapping out the model and ended up with something way worse. Believe it or not, this is actually really close to being right. When we make the skin models smaller, we end up with something that's vaguely humanoid, albeit still looking like the one reborn from Bloodborne. I've got a few more tweaks that I want to make to this, but first, I want to change something big. This mannequin is boring, and more importantly, I feel like a weirdo saying skin model over and over. So let's find a new model. Our ideal model is low poly, easily recognizable, and just all around aesthetically pleasing. But where could we possibly find such a perfect humanoid? Wait, what's that sound? I don't know why I chose Luigi, but that choice completely changed the direction of this project. Before, my goal was to make something visually coherent and cool looking. Maybe add an animation just to see it. But the moment I saw Luigi standing there in front of me like a swarm of beautiful Italian plumbers, I knew we needed to see what the Mario franchise could have been. So I immediately got to work on my Luigi Continuum character controller. In order to give Luigi a character controller, we need the smaller Luigis to move when the big guy does. My script was originally designed for a static Luigi model that didn't move. We drew the swarm of Luigis once, we called it a day. But your standard character controller doesn't actually use a static mesh, it uses what's called a skinned mesh. A skinned mesh is a 3D model that can twist and deform and move around like, well, skin over a skeleton. Skinned mesh renderers work by using math to calculate where each piece of skin should be based on the position of each bone. This is a huge boon for people like me who don't like making animations, as it means that any skinned mesh can be used to play any skinned animation. However, it does come with a problem for us here. Skinned mesh renderers, because they use all that math, don't actually keep track of what their mesh looks like every frame. Therefore, we have to use a process that's called baking. Every frame, I ask the skinned mesh renderer to bake a mesh, or generate a static copy of itself whose triangles I can read. This is super unperformant, I don't recommend it at all in an actual game, but here it worked really well. So our process now looks like this. Every frame, my script asks Luigi's renderer for his most recent static mesh and uses that mesh to draw Luigi's all over his current skin, copying his current pose. In fact, since we have this static mesh, I even took it a step further and used that mesh for our skin Luigi's. So now all the Luigi's on our skin are also copying our Big Luigi's pose. So if Big Luigi is jumping, you better bet that all the little guys are also trying their best to jump. And with that, all that's left is to tweak a few visuals, and we are done. I downloaded some music and sound effects, and now we can finally play Mario the way it was always meant to be played. So without further ado, please sit back and enjoy Super Mario Continuum. Thank you so much for watching. I had a ton of fun making this, both the code and the video, and I want to keep making dumb stuff like this in the future. So if you have any ideas for just stupid esoteric things that you want to see made, hit me up. Let's see if we can make them together. Cool. Yeah. Peace.